Let's start up by saying Barak Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rawchaa, Qadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is A Perverse Spirit in the World. And pretty much this lesson is inspired by the movie that we saw. We saw it in two parts, called Sound of Freedom. And pretty much, those of you out there that have been watching and have been noticing the news and this particular movie that they brought out, it's about the P to the E to the D to the O's out there, and this is something that's rampant in the world. This is something that's prevailing in the world, especially among the so-called elite. This is not something new. This is something that goes way back. This is not something that America just brings out and does. This is something that has been practiced since the beginning of time. Everything that you see going on, goes all the way back to the beginning. Those different mystery religions, they have all of the different, practices today, but they're not called the same thing that they were back then. And what I want to start off with is the word perverse. I'm going to let the elder, I'm here joined by Elder Demashipat.
Hey, Shalom.
All right, and we're going to read the definition for the word perverse and then take it from there.
This is the word perverse from Etymon line. A perverse adjective, late 14th century, wicked.
Mm-hmm.
It says, from Old French, perverse, unnatural,
right?
Degenerate.
Unnatural, degenerate. So unnatural would be what? What is natural? Natural is something that would be according to the order of the Most High. Matter of fact, since we brought that up, go to the book of Romans, the first chapter. Now keep in mind, when we read Romans, the first chapter, and the book of Romans in general, that applies to Jake. This is dealing with Israelites that became perverse, and like the scriptures say that the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked seduced them. Romans 1, first chapter. The ways of the wicked seduced them. So Jake has been seduced into this way of thinking, this lifestyle. Because when Jake, was out in the world, they had certain talents, and when they try to make money off of their talents, they come to find out that pretty much they have to do things that they were not comfortable with. All right, and that's the perversion of this world. Because remember what Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, told Yahawashi. He told him, he said, all of this that you see in the world is given to me, and I'll give it to whom I will. But there were certain things that had to be done to Satan in order for the individual to receive those benefits. And that would be to bow down, sell out to him, and do the things that he wants them to do. And this foul spirit, is out here, among these different nations. Remember, the Edomites, who are the ruling class families today, they are spawns of Satan. They are directly connected to the spiritual demon Satan. So scroll down to the start at the 24th verse, and then we're going to read on down because there's some good points here. But keep in mind, this is dealing with Israelites, but we're going to apply this to Esau today because the things that applied to us at one time applied to Esau. You got it.
This is Romans 1:24. Wherefore, the Most High also gave them up to uncleanness.
Right, because Jake had, changed the Lord, as it says above. They changed the incorruptible power to the images, made to corruptible man, so on and so forth. In this country, America, this corporation known as America, Babylon the Great, they said that they believe in the Most High. They claim that they're a God-fearing nation. They claim that, they follow the tenets of the scriptures, the so-called, as they call it, Christian tenets of the scriptures, but they don't. Go ahead.
It says.
So the Lord said He gave them up to uncleanness. Go ahead.
It says through the lust of their own hearts.
Right, through the lust of their own hearts. And this is what's happening right now. You know, these demons pretty much, they're just doing whatever the hell they want to do. And they're getting the world acclimated to their sick ways. You know, because they are in power, they are ruling, they're moving towards their agenda. So they want the world to run where they're comfortable. You got it?
It says to dishonor their own bodies between themselves.
Right, and the dishonoring of the body between themselves. The Lord created man and woman. You know, He told them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the face of the earth, you know. You can't do that with, you know, man on man and woman on woman. Man on child, you know. 5, 6, 7-year-old. This is some freakism that's going on. Go ahead.
It says, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship, and it says, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator.
Right. They worship, they change the truth of the Most High into a lie, because they'll tell you that come as you are, you know, love is love, and all this other stuff. But that's not according to the principles of the Lord. This is why in plantation Christianity they're supposed to be defenders of the gospel. They'll tell you that the laws are done away with, because if they tell you that the laws are done away with, then they no longer have to adhere to the principles and the instruction book of the scriptures. This is why the Lord said unto the wicked, the Lord said, what have thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenants in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee. Go ahead.
It says, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Good. Keep going.
It says, for this cause the Lord gave them up unto vile affections.
Right. For this cause the Most High gave them up unto vile affections. So let's look up this word vile affections. And let's see what that says, you know, for the word vile affection. Just bear with me 1 second while I grab that. Gave them up unto vile affections. So it's two words. The word vile is the word atimia. Atimia. And the Greek word atimia means dishonor, ignominy, disgrace, reproach, shame, vile. So these things are vile. Vile affections. You know, there's another scripture in the New Testament that says that it's not even lawful pretty much to say what they do in secret. So there's a lot of wicked shit going on behind the scenes. And even when we read the New Testament, we have hints of it. You know, the chamberings and the rioting and all of that. Those are all orgies, whether, you know, same-sex orgies or, you know, a mixture of the mode lifestyle, you know, the alphabet mafia, you know, and other freakisms that are going on. But on top of that, the P to the E to the D to the O's that are pushing that out there. And this movie shows you that. Now this movie, when you watch it, is going to stir up both anger and sadness at the same time. You know, because this shit is going on worldwide. But the problem is, they're trying to put it all on the so-called Latin tribes, that they're the ones that's that foul and, you know, wretched. And you have a couple of Edomites that'll do it. No, it's the ruling class that's pushing that agenda. Because if they can't get you with the, you know, same-sex thing, they'll get you other ways, other vile acts, whether it's bestiality, whether it's P to the E to the D to the O isms and all of that other stuff. You see? And whenever you're ready, you could jump in if you want to, you know, say a few words. And the word for affection, Salaki, is the word pathos, which is where you get the word feel. Like apathy means no feeling. Empathy. It says whatever befalls one, whether it be sad or joyous, specifically a calamity, mishap, evil, affliction, an affliction of the mind, emotion, passion. So these devils are afflicted in the mind. You know, they're not right in the head. May you do good that are accustomed to doing evil. When you're accustomed to doing evil and you practice these things, your mindset is not right. Your mind is not right, true, okay? Inside joke. But this is what this is the sick shit that they're pushing on the world. You know?
Yeah, and then I wouldn't be surprised if this world went on, because what's happening is you got these people that have all this money, and all the women want the people with all the money. So the men, the people with all the money get all the women, and then they become bored with women. And they say, well, I can get any woman I want. What else can I do? And then they start coming into these vile affections, man. These wicked and vile affections, And don't be surprised if, I wouldn't be surprised if they start putting some of this into law. Yeah, if you commit this crime, you get anally raped.
Yeah.
Because you know what? That which is then is now, and there's no new thing under the sun.
Well, that's why they're trying to make that whole P to the E to the D to the O-ism. They're trying to make it, that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's just their preference. That's just their sexual preference.
Yeah, they're minor. They got maps. They're minor attracted people.
Right. Yeah, and they'll give it euphemisms.
Mm-hmm.
Look that word up, euphemisms. They'll give it good words to make it not sound so harsh. No, it is what it is. It's total wickedness. Right? Then you have something called NAMBLA, NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association. Now, when we go, let's hold off on that, right? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, right? And verse 9. Let's start at verse 9 because there's something in here that we want to get out, a definition in the Greek that we want to get out. And they'll probably take this video down, but you know what? The truth has to come out regardless. And the Lord is going to make it come out because you are being exposed on all levels. The Lord said that the beginning of your downfall is exposure, and then after the exposure comes destruction. All right? So whenever you get it, you could read the 9th verse.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High?
Right, and they know this because they got the Bible, but yet they still do the things that are against righteousness because they are the wicked. Go ahead.
It says, be not deceived.
Do not be deceived. You can do what you do, but don't be deceived in thinking that you're still going to be able to continue to rule, that you're going to be able to rule forever, and that you're going to find good graces in the sight of the Most High. Go ahead.
It says, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers.
Right, fornicators is an adulterer in the sense of, in certain cases, in the sense of spiritual adultery, worshiping idols. Nor idolaters, right? Nor adulterers, which is man having sex with another man's woman. Go ahead.
It says nor effeminate.
Nor effeminate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, effeminate is someone that has so like a girly tendencies, but when we look this word up in the Greek, I believe the word there is catamite, right? And that was an old custom in ancient Rome and Greece and all of that. So the word effeminate, no, it's not catamite. It's malakos. Malakos, right? It says soft to the touch, metaphorically in a bad sense. Effeminate, yeah, it is a catamite. Now, when you look up the word catamite, right? Just bear with me 1 second. Control, copy. Just bear with me 1 second. The word control, catamite definition is a boy kept for homo to the sexual practices. Okay? Now, when we go back to Malakos, it says of a boy kept for homo, relations with a man. What is that? P to the E to the D to the O. Why? Because that was something that was practiced in ancient Rome. That was something that was practiced in Greece. And these are things that Jake is not supposed to do. Now, when the scriptures say that you should not make a sodomite of the children of Israel or the sons of Israel, or have a whore of the daughters of Israel, it's not talking about, just a mole or a woman that Israelite woman that's a whole son of her cooch snatch. It's talking about cult or temple prostitutes. All right, that goes all the way back to the cult or temple prostitute. I think that was verse 9. That's what you're looking for. That goes back to cult or temple prostitute. And this is what they do because they do it in the name of their God. So it's all a part of idolatry. That's why you had the rioting, you had the carousels, you had the chamberings, and they had wine there, and they had orgies there, because this was all done in the name of their God. This is what they're doing here. Now there was another movie, I can't remember the name of the movie, but at the end they show the old dude taking a little boy by the hand and taking him away. There's a lot of freakism going on, man. It says, of a male who submits his body to unnatural lewdness of a male prostitute. All right, so that's what the word malakos is. All right, so that's in the book of 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, because you have some individuals out there that say, well, no, that's not talking about a mole. That's talking about a man that's dealing with an underage boy. Yeah, you're right. But when you go to the next part of the verse in 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, it says, no abusers of themselves with mankind. Mm-hmm. So the Lord covered both. So yeah, you have the P to the E to the D to the O's, but you also have the abusers of themselves with mankind, meaning those that are actually of the consensual age that actually commit these acts. So the Lord covered it all. All right. Now let's go back to Romans 1, and then whatever other precepts you have, other demonic. Romans 1:27.
Romans 1 and verse 27. It says, and likewise also men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one towards another, men with men working that which is unseemly. It says, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which is meat.
Right. So it says, likewise also the men leaving the what? Natural use of the woman. Now what does that word natural mean in the Greek? So let's go to it. Let me pull it up. Natural. And the word natural there is phusikos. Phusikos, right? So phusikos is produced by nature, inborn, agreeable to nature, governed by the the instincts of nature. And what is natural? For a man and a woman to get together. The Most High created man and woman. He told them, be fruitful and multiply. When two men get together, two women get together, that's nothing but confusion. It even tells us in the law that if a man or a woman lie down with a beast, it is confusion. See? And it is also confusion when the same sex lies down with each other. There's nothing good that can come out of that. There's nothing good that can come out of a grown-ass man laying down with a 4 or 5-year-old boy, 6-year-old boy, or girl. There's nothing going to come out of that. That's nothing but confusion. That's foul, vile affections. All right. So going back, was it you had another word, right?
I was trying to get the word unseemly.
Did anything come up?
Hold on. There it is, right here.
So you know what? I'm gonna read this again while the elders getting that. In Romans 1 and 27, it says, and likewise also the men leaving the natural use of the woman, which is what? A man laying down with a woman, having sex with a woman, they bringing forth children, building a family, so on and so forth. But here it is, you got two men doing that. Nothing's going to come out of that but confusion and disease. It says, burn in their lust one toward another, because these are vile affections, because the Lord gave them over to the Spirit. Men with men working that which is what? Which is unseemly. So did you find anything on it? Is that unseemly there? Okay. You could
it just says that which is unseemly, a shame.
Right. Because it's a shame.
It says unseemly, an unseemly deed of a woman's genitals.
Of one's nakedness, right? Shame.
Nakedness.
Why? Because when you are a man, you're supposed to deal with the nakedness of a woman, and not the nakedness of another man's woman. The nakedness of your woman. You know, that's what you're supposed to be seeing. Not two men, you know, looking at each other and lusting after each other like a man lusts after a woman. You know, that's unseemly. Matter of fact, I look up this word unseemly definition. It says of behavior or action not proper or appropriate. You know, and this is why at one time it was frowned upon. They would hide.
I looked it up in the etymology 9. It says visually unpleasing, unattractive, or ugly. It says unfitting, indecent, inappropriate.
Yeah, so that's pretty much that's the main thing. You know? And matter of fact, I know you had pulled up Isaiah, the 19th chapter. We could go to that. And you know, I guess if any words you want to, you know, if you want to say a few words or
This is Isaiah 19 and verse 14. It says, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his vomit.
Right. So that's what? That's reprobates. You know, not discerning judgment, not discerning, and this is why they do this stuff in the dark. Now they're bringing it out to the forefront because you know now it's been pushed out so much and gradually pushed out to people that now it's an acceptable thing. Now, if you don't accept it, being a straight male or female, you're demonized. You know. And the same thing with that P to the E to the D to the O isms that they're trying to push out, that they're trying to normalize that. And that is not normal. That is straight up wickedness. I looked up the word perverse. It's Iwayam, right? Distorting, perverting, warping. It's a warped mind state. And remember, we read earlier, one of the definitions was what? Not sound of the mind or something along those lines. You want to say anything?
No, the word distorted also means unclear. You know, because a person that does that is unclear of what is right and wrong. They not
of a sound mind.
Not of a sound mind.
That's right. Because you know this. And then what that does, that opens a gateway to demons. You know? So now let's go from there, let's go to Revelation 11 and 8. Go to Revelation 11 and 8.
So Revelations 11 and verse 8. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Right. And what was Sodom known for?
Freakism, the L to the G to the B to the Q.
That's it. And everything in between. So this place, America, is known spiritually known as Sodom and Egypt. Why? Because they follow the tenets of ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, which were two of the major cities of the 5 cities that were destroyed by the Lord by fire from heaven, coming down and raining down on those 5 cities. The one city that was somewhat kind of spared for a little bit was Zoar, which was the smallest of them. But when that fire started coming down, you know, Lot and his daughters took off and went to the mountains anyway, and the Lord destroyed that one too. Because he meant he was going to destroy all 5 of them because they were all practicing the same thing. It was just that Sodom and Gomorrah was just like New York City, you know, let's say Chicago. You know, they were like major hubs where this was going on, but the other three cities were doing the same shit. You know? So you got it. You know what? Read that again.
It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
Right, and the Lord was crucified here. How? He was crossed out. You know, his name was crossed out. His appearance was crossed out. You know, by this image of a so-called white man. You know. Now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 5. So if you get a chance, you know, you should watch that movie, because that movie, Sound of Freedom, is going to bring a lot of different emotions out of you. The main two is going to be anger and sadness. So you got that.
It's Colossians 3 and 5. It says, mortify therefore your members which are upon earth.
Right, it says mortify, meaning what? To deaden. Because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Go ahead.
It says fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection.
Yep, inordinate affection. Go ahead.
It says evil concupiscence and covetousness, which is idolatry.
Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look up a couple of these words. First word we're going to look up is the word uncleanness. All right? I'm going to look up the word uncleanness. And the word for uncleanness is akatarsia. Akatarsia. I'll wait for the elder to pull it up. Go back up. Right there. I'm sorry, right there. Akatarsia, right? And scroll down. Akatarsia is uncleanness, physical. In a moral sense, the impurity of lustful, luxurious, profligate living, of impure motives.
Yeah,
See?
notice it said luxurious you know, luxurious, because people that have the money get bored with natural life. People that are super rich get bored with having a natural life.
That's right.
You know, because they can have anything they want. You know?
Dig it.
You know, so that's why they get into these awful, wicked practices.
Vile affections.
You know? That's why the scriptures say the love of money is the root of all evil, man. You know, because these people, they make all this money, and then the way of life is lost within their success.
Right.
Within
Now,
their success.
Yeah, right. Now, when we go to Revelation 18 and 14, I just think you could go back to the same word, because we're going to look up a few more words there. When we go to Revelation 18:14, it says, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after, meaning after America is destroyed, are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all, because America is the jump off to all of this wickedness. Even though you have shit going on around the world, America pushes this lifestyle openly to the world. So now when we look up the word goodly, right? The word for goodly in Revelation 18, right, is the word lampros, and the Greek word lampros is shining, brilliant, clear, transparent, splendid, magnificent, splendid things in example, luxuries or elegancies in dress or style. Which all of that, in order for you, because that's the carrot. In order for you to get this carrot of living this luxurious lifestyle, you have to live a debaucherous way, a debaucherous life. You have to sell out, you have to bow down, you have to do things that you wouldn't normally do, that you were uncomfortable doing, just to be able to be a partaker in this devil's system and his society. Because that's what they thrive off of. They don't have a problem doing it. It's Jake that has the problem doing it at first, but then they say F it, because they want that lifestyle. They want to live. You see, that's why they bow down and commit these horrid acts. But when it first happens, they're like, nah, you know, they don't want no parts of it. That's why you'll see individuals that are very talented, and then you'll see them make a record or two or album, and then you won't see it or hear about them anymore, because they were offered that, you know, to go to the next level, and what they had to do, and they were like, nah, that's all right, I'm cool with that. And that's normally Jake's way of, you know, of thinking. But it comes to the point where they go beyond that. And that's why when Jake goes beyond that threshold, this is why, you know, they start having regrets. They start growing a conscience, you know, and then they start trying to bite the hand that feeds them. And what happens? They end up getting either put in an insane asylum or have all kind of charges brought upon them, brought into, you know, locked up constantly, you know, demonized, or ultimately put to death. See? Because this devil don't play fair. Once you sell out, that's it. What did Yahawashi said? No, a man can give nothing in exchange for his soul.
Yeah.
Once you sell your soul, it's over. You know? You had anything, Dimash?
No, sir.
All right, so let's go back to Colossians, right?
Did you want to get some more of these definitions?
Yeah, I want to get another word in there. The next one we want to get is the word inordinate affection. Let's get inordinate affection.
Inordinate affection.
Which leads us back to the word pathos. Go ahead.
It says, whatever befalls one, whether it be sad or joyous.
Mm-hmm.
It says a calamity, mishap, evil affliction.
Go ahead.
A feeling which the mind suffers.
See, a feeling which the mind suffers. Go ahead.
An affliction of the mind. Emotion, passion.
Right, and that's why in the book of James, right, the 3rd chapter, let's get that real quick. Let me pull that up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
In James, the 3rd chapter and the 15th verse, it says, this wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So in order for you to partake in this lifestyle or in this world, you have to partake in those devilish lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything?
It's a little bit more. It says passionate deed. It says in either a good or bad sense. It says in a bad sense, depraved passions or vile passions.
That's right.
A vile passion. You know, something that you allow the demon. See, these people give over to these demons. These demons come and fight with these people, but these people give over to these demons, man. You know?
That's right.
That's when they become engulfed in their own lust. The scriptures say what? The Lord said what? He tempted not any man, but man is tempted when he is drawn away by his own lust.
That's it.
You know? So a lot of people fall into their own lust. And that's what brings the judgment. Yep. You know?
That's right. So let's go back and let's go to the next word. The next word we're going to deal with is concupiscence.
Concupiscence is
epithumia. Epithumia.
Epithumia. It says desiring, craving, longing, desire for what is forbidden, or lust.
See, desire for what is forbidden or lust. You know, so these are things that are supposed to be avoided. But these are the things that have to be done in order to be a partaker in this society. And a part of that partaking in this society is to be a P to the E to the D to the O, because this is what they feel comfortable with, because they are down with their daddy, Satan. Now, the last word we're going to get in there is the word fornication. Let's get that word fornication. You got to scroll back up.
So, fornication.
Get that one. You could read that.
It says porneia.
Right.
It says illicit sexual intercourse.
Right. Illicit sexual intercourse. Go ahead.
Adultery, fornication, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with animals, etc.
What spiritually Sodom and what in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got it.
It says sexual intercourse with close relatives. Mm-hmm. It says sexual intercourse with a divorced man or woman.
Well, they're going off on that. The divorced woman, yes.
Yeah,
but the man, the man, there's no, the man can have more than one woman as long as that woman don't have a man.
Yep. This is the worst.
That's pretty much it on that. So the point we're looking at is illicit sexual intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
The Moisms and intercourse of animals, and adultery, fornication,
Or close relatives.
or close relatives. So now let's go to Hebrews 12 and 16. Go to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16, and we'll see who this man that's bringing all this stuff. Because Esau is what? The end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Esau is identified with the wicked. The last people to be ruling on the planet, and that last nation, would be the Edomites. So if the Edomites are the last nation that's ruling, and they're the wicked, they're going to be doing wicked things. And this is why you have this debaucherous type of lifestyle that's being pushed out here in the world. Because read that, Elder Damashapat.
Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
Right, because they're outside of the temple. Because they are the sons and daughters of the wicked. They are not the sons and daughters of the Most High. Yes, the Lord created them, but they are the sons and daughters of the spiritual demon Satan. And they are fornicators and profane person as Esau. Esau is the father of the Edomites. It says, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
Mm-hmm. Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. It says, for ye know how that after when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. Because he was all about his own lust, fulfilling the lust of his own belly.
Yep.
And he was rejected for that. He was rejected for his appetite for blood.
Yep. His undisciplined self.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
And wanting to fulfill his own lust. But he was mainly rejected because it was written to be that way from the beginning. It was written for him to be rejected.
Right. All right. So the last precept I have for this is go to 1 Thessalonians 4 and 3, and we're going to read to about the 5th verse. And if you have anything else, if you want to bring out, but I think the point is pretty much made. But see how the Spirit rolls.
This is 1 Thessalonians 4 and 3. For this is the will of the Most High, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication.
Right, this is dealing with the Israelite foreigners. Go ahead.
That every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor.
Why? Because there were things going on back then, even as today, that were not, measurable, for lack of better words, to honor. And this is why Jake was in that effed up situation that they were in, because they were partaking in these things among the Greeks, among the Romans, and becoming unclean in the sight of the Lord, to where the Lord can't use them. So they had to be cleaned up. And what cleaned them up? The word. Go ahead.
It says, not in the lust of concupiscence, even as the Gentiles which know not the Lord.
Right. Not in the lust of concupiscence, even as the Gentiles, these nations which know not the Most High. And they don't know the Most High. This is why they can't do the things that are pleasing unto the Most High. Because they don't know the Lord. And they've been given free range to do whatever they want to do. And look what they did. Look where they have the world. Look at the condition, the moral condition that they have the world in when they have the instruction book. But look at the despicable, state of the world. So, let's finish out with Romans 13 and 13. And we're going to get a couple of those words there because that ties into it. And then, like I said, if you have anything or any closing words or any precepts that you want to bring out, any points, mention anything about the movie or whatever the case, So you got it.
It's Romans 13 and verse 13. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying.
Right. So we're supposed to walk honestly as in the day, because remember, a lot of this stuff is done where? In the darkness, behind closed doors. Not anymore, of course, but that's how it was done. So it says, not in rioting. When we look up this word rioting, this was the partying that was done back then. The word for rioting is komos, right? It says a revel, carousal, a nocturnal, meaning night, and riotous procession of half-drunken and frolicsome fellows, who after supper parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus or some other deity, Dionysus, and today, whatever demon gods that they worship, today. Remember, this music that's being played today is all sanctified, in the name of a particular demon. This is why when people listen to it, it puts certain spirits upon them. Elder Apostle Gabar just did a video based off of Elder Manat Zakba's video dealing with the music industry, which that goes back to John Todd, which was bringing out this old, information on how these records are prayed over by witches in order to captivate the people so that the people can buy it and put the people in the spell. And every decade brings a new spirit, dealing with music, depending on what they want. The so-called international bankers. It says, and sing and play before houses of male and female friends, hence used generally of feast and drinking parties that are protracted till late at night and indulge in revelry, which is what? Parading, dancing, so-called partying, in the clubs and all of that. So then I looked up the word chambering. It says koite, which is a place for lying down, resting, sleeping, a bed, couch, the marriage bed of adultery, cohabitation, whether lawful or unlawful, sexual intercourse. And this was dealing with those orgies. The good example of that is Studio 54. Studio 54 was a big freak fest. And that was something that was prevalent all throughout Greece, all throughout Rome, and all throughout America today, and all around the world. And that illicit, demonic, perverse spirit is pushed on the whole world. Because they traffic these children all across the world. All up through America and other parts of the world. But the Lord sees, and the Lord's going to judge for all of these things. So it's many things you got to pay for. That's one of a long laundry list of things that you have to pay for. You have any other precept, Elder Damashapa? Any closing statements? Anything you want to say? If you have precepts, you could bring out precepts. If you have anything you want to add to the lesson.
I just pretty much everything was covered. It's just. It's this is the world we live in for now, and hey man, this is why a reason why we have to be extra careful for yourself and your own kids and the brothers and their families.
Right.
Because these things are being pushed out into the earth, man, and this is the reason why we really have to monitor our walk with the Lord and make sure we're doing those things that are pleasing to Him. So. Lord's will, we can receive that protection from Yahawashi from all the wickedness of this present world, man.
That's right.
So that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
All right. So with that, we pray that your brothers and sisters have been edified. Till the next time we say Shalom, and if you get a chance, watch that movie, Sound of Freedom. Very good movie. Shalom to the elect.